Miles Dewey Davis III was born on May 26 in 1926 in Alton, Illinois, United States. At the age of 13, his father gave him a trumpet and took some lessons with local trumpeter Elwood Buchanan. By 1944 he moved to New York and neglected his studies at Juilliard School of Music. Instead he found Charlie Parker and began to play as an entire musician. The innovation, the successful and current immortality of modern jazz could be seen through the different works of Miles Davis, like Birth of the Cool, Milestones, Sketches of Spain, It Beaches Brew, In a Silent Way, and the very famous Kind of Blue. This one was the most-selling album of the 50s, until now is the best-selling jazz album of all time. The talents and skills of Miles Davis were still reflected in the very distinctive style to play the trumpet with a clear signature tone. He had the gift for hearing the music in his head and putting together a band of incredible musicians whose constructing styles could finish in meeting the end result he was looking for. Miles Davis was the Picasso of jazz, reinventing himself and his sound endlessly. In his musical quest, he was an artist that defied and despised categorization, yet he was the forerunner and innovator of many distinct and important musical movements. He died on September 28 of 1991 in Santa Monica, California, from a stroke, pneumonia, and a respiratory failure.
Martin Luther King Jr. was born on January 15 in 1929. He was an American clergyman, activist, and prominent leader in the American Civil Rights Movement. His main legacy was to secure progress on civil rights in the United States, and he is frequently referenced as a human rights icon today. A Baptist minister, King became a civil rights activist early in his career. He led the Montgomery bus boycott in 1955 and helped found the Southern Christian Leadership Conference in 1957, serving as its first president. His efforts led to the 1963 March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, where King delivered his I Have a Dream speech. There, he raised public consequences of the civil rights movement and established himself as one of the greatest orators in the USA history. In 1964, King became the youngest person to receive the Nobel Peace Prize for his works to end racial segregation and racial discrimination through civil disobedience and other not-violent means. By the time of his death in 1968, he had focused his efforts on ending poverty and opposing the Vietnam War, but from a religious perspective. King was assassinated on April 4 in 1964 in Memphis, Tennessee. He was posthumously awarded the President's Medal of Freedom in 1977 and Congressional Gold Medal in 2004. Martin Luther King Jr. Day was established as a U.S. national holiday in 1986. Martin Luther King has leadership skills. He was president of a predominantly white senior class, pastor of the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church in Montgomery, member of the executive committee of the National Association for Advocacy of Colored People, leadership of the first Great Negro Nonviolent Demonstration in the United States, and president of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. And besides, he had skills about speech. Between 1957 and 1968, King traveled over 6 million miles and spoke over 2,500 times. He wrote 5 books and numerous articles.
Zinedine Zidane, his full name. Born on June 23 of 1992 in Marseille, France, the son of Algerian immigrants. Zinedine learned to play soccer in the streets of Marseille, was discovered at age 14 by a talent scout, and signed as a schoolboy for Cannes Football Club. Always he showed soccer abilities, but besides in his team that he played, also he showed leadership skills as the captain. Few soccer players could have won everything championships like Zidane or Zizou, as people know him. He was named as the best soccer player in 1998, 2000, 2003, and at the 2006 FIFA World Cup too. And now FIFA includes Zidane in a list where are the 50 greatest soccer players at the history. He has compassion and good projects, because now he's working with Algerian childs in his own soccer school, where he's helping childs to be a good person before to be a soccer player. That's the slogan. This is Zinedine Zidane, a man, a friend, a professional soccer player, whatever good, a legend.
Jaime Garzón. He was a Colombian journalist and comedian. He was born in Bogotá on October 24 to 1960 and died killed by a paramilitary group on August 13 to 1999. He studied law in National University and worked like a peace mediator between government and insurgents groups in Colombia on process of kidnapped people. He participated in the constitutional reform of 1991 and translated to Aboriginal languages. He was known because of important programs about critics in television, in which he talked about political, social and economic situation. Jaime Garzón had an important critic programs in television, in which he talked about political, social and economic situation, Quack News, a program famous because of his personality's imitation. Jaime Garzón, his talent was to make love to people, had a good speech ability and incredible logical thinking. Besides his great compassion for Colombian people, he applied his excellent common sense to political reforms in Colombia. For his studies in journalism and law, he had a good memory and was an excellent writer, and had a knowledge about student reforms on universities. He was member of the ELN, a guerrilla group in Colombia, and was an important leader in his time. He wished to make a critical and open media in Colombia. His contribution for community was to work for a merit and equality society through political critics. He was famous because of his humor and for his famous character, Heriberto of the Street.